Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am your very conservative Republican host, Jerry Cooey.
I'm Deborah Nelson. Thanks for joining us.
She won't say it. You're not like a tree hugger Democrat?
I have hugged a few trees in my lifetime. Yes.
Speaking of,
I am a Democrat.
Speaking of hugging trees, and Deborah's gonna get all upset with me.
But I cut more down.
But I had to take the lives of a few trees this week to save other trees' lives.
I get it. No,
I want trees. I want trees to grow up big and strong.
Right.
And they were too crowded.
I understand.
You know, I had to eliminate some of the population.
I get you. They would eventually have been eliminated.
Oh, so it's okay if I speed the process?
But, what can I do?
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna. You know what? For those that know me, I am a pretty easy to get along with fella. I am a little opinionated, absolutely, but I'm not opinionated with a lack of facts. But we had an event that occurred at a county-owned facility about 8 weeks ago. It was at the Navarre Pier. And just to go over it, of course, we talked about it in an earlier show, but there was an illegal closing of the end of the pier for the wedding of the management team that the county chose to manage the pier. In that event, we add in a county employee who sent word to those of us who did not agree with the illegal closing of the pier.
Well, let's just say his son said he sent word.
Yeah. Stated that the son wanted us all to know that his father was a county employee and that he knew all the county commissioners and we should get off the end of the pier because that's what they wanted to. Well, all that's well and good. Okay. I did what I believe was right. I didn't interfere with the wedding. I did stand my ground along with about a dozen other folks that were down there. I felt it was an important point to make. Folks, just like I talked about in the last show, there's ethics and morals involved. If you don't stand up from time to time, you're going to get run over by stuff. So I stood up for it. But the reason I bring it up again is because since that event, there has been 9 county commission meetings. Since that event occurred, 9 county commission meetings, and there has not been one conversation about what went on that pier. Okay, and I'm gonna look into the camera, and there will be elected officials that I hope get the message here. But I want to point out to you that you were on the telephone with me while all this was going on and you stated how horrendous and how upset you were about it. But yet Jerry gets hung out to dry. I've been yelled at and I've been cursed upon. But that's okay. But I want to remind you, Mr. County Commissioner, you need to show some respect. It needs to be on the next agenda, and it needs to be discussed. And let me say this again. The county employee who allegedly sent word down there, that county employee needs to be standing at the podium at the next county commission meeting, and he needs to explain his official position. All right?
And the authority that he wields to...
And the authority. I've been patient. I haven't said a word about it. All right? It needs to be on the next agenda. All right? It is time to grow a backbone on a lot of issues in Santa Rosa County, and that is one of them. All right? That was an embarrassment to all 5 county commissioners. And as a citizen of Santa Rosa County, Don Salter threatened me one time. He did his best to threaten and harass and harangue me, and I vowed right then, you can go back and find the videotape of it, I said right then there will never be another citizen abused by an employee or an elected official of Santa Rosa County, and I mean it. We need to have the discussion. I hope the discussion happens without any further comment by me. Should it not be on the agenda at the next county commission meeting, let me assure you we are going to have a long conversation about it, and I'm going to remind certain individuals of things that was said to me.
Yeah, I mean, the egregious thing is we pay their salaries, and they're very high salaries. I think we figured out the median was in the 60,000s.
Easily.
In this
county employees,
yeah.
That's right.
And we pay that. I mean, that's just outrageous.
Well, you know, just like I said in the last show, ignore it and it'll get better. No, I don't agree with that. All right, it's time to stand up and be counted. If there's only 2 votes up there to do something about it, so be it. Stand up and be counted. Be a man, look into the camera, tell folks what you think about it, and if there's not 3 people to make a change here, to impact a change, to at least tell somebody that they've done wrong, then so be it. If there's any additional problems at the Navarre Pier, then it'll be on the 3 of them that wouldn't vote with you. But I've had enough of it, folks. I have had enough. Ignore it. I'm sick and tired of ignoring and acting like it'll get better. Just give us a little more time. It'll get better. I'm sick of that. It's time to pick up the bridles and do something about it. Speaking of that,
yes,
same thing going on with Team Santa Rosa.
yeah, that's our favorite subject.
You know,
just when we thought we were out, they pull us back in every time where we have to report something on them.
you know, I decided to go to a recent meeting of Team Santa Rosa, and here's what I learned. I learned that 4 commissioners telling the board of Team Santa Rosa that we need new leadership, which, you know, you might call that a code word, but I don't really think it's a code word. What those 4 commissioners told Dave Hoxing, the owner of Cat Country, the chairman of Team Santa Rosa, what they told him was new leadership. That means Cindy Anderson's got to go. And they also said you need to change the name. Well, I go to the Team Santa Rosa meeting, and I'm expecting that there be a discussion of accepting of Miss Anderson's resignation letter. But I was shocked. There was a discussion of hiring a consultant
To clarify their vision. Because apparently they haven't been able to find that yet.
Folks, it's so sad it's back to funny to me now. An entire group of adults, with the exception, and I tell you what, I don't think he'd mind me using his name because I'm very proud of what he did, but the owner of the local yokel, right by Ward Basin Road, Claude Duval, is on the board of Team Santa Rosa, and he voted no not once, he voted no twice. As far as I'm concerned, he is the only man that was standing in that room. The rest of them, they sipped their soup. They didn't have ham sandwiches this week. They sipped their soup while they didn't offer me any, and they ate their bread, and all of them voted to hire a consultant. Now, folks, that's $10,000 of your money.
Again, let me reiterate, to figure out what their vision is.
To figure out what their $10,000 of your money plus expenses. To quickly let you know what expenses are going to look like. Guess where the consultant lives?
Georgia?
Chicago, Illinois.
Right. They didn't take the Georgia group.
There's not a consultant in driving distance of here that they could pay $10,000 to.
Right.
He's by far the best fit, says Ferd Solomon.
Yeah.
I don't know him, and that should give you great comfort that he will do the right thing. He's helped over these are all quotes, folks. He's helped 200 organizations find their vision.
Yeah.
He lives in Chicago, Illinois, the capital of Obama corruption. Goodness gracious alive. It's going to be a minimum of $400 for a plane ticket to get him down and back, and he's going to make 2 trips. We're going to have to furnish him a car. We're going to have to put him in a hotel room. It'll be $12,000 to $15,000 before it's over with. For what?
Yeah.
For what?
Well, to get it to garner a vision.
To garner a vision.
Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of PowerPoint involved. I'm sure there's going to be some spreadsheets involved, some management jargon.
I don't.
Benchmarks.
Here's
deliverables.
Here's all the catchphrases. Here's what I don't understand. Okay. Long before I knew Dave Hawksing,
yeah,
I used to admire Cat Country in their ability, not musically. Right. I used to admire the promotional aspect of Cat Country. Everywhere I looked, Cat Country was there. They were at every festival. Yeah. They were running commercials. I used to admire that. I don't think. I think Dave clearly understands, Mr. Hawksing clearly understands the promotional side of this. But he has been looked at in the eyes and told at public meetings and in private, we are not happy with the current leadership and the name is offensive to the general public. We want those changed. I don't know how hard that is to understand. You know, but when you have I think I know what the deal is. You know, folks, I laugh about the ham sandwiches and all, but I know what it is now.
Yeah.
They're drugging the board members.
Do you think?
Yeah, that's got to be it. I mean, there's no other way that intelligent people sit around a table and decide to spend $10,000 to $15,000 on a consultant without there being some kind of mood-altering something in the soup.
Well, and once again, to figure out what in the heck they're supposed to be doing as an organization it's almost like the Keystone Cops. I mean, it'd be amusing if it wasn't our money. Let's put it that way.
You know, and look, folks. This is just a pattern that Deborah and I have noticed forever. As long as nobody is saying a word about Team Santa Rosa, you never hear a word out of Team Santa Rosa.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a little heat,
right.
They put up a PowerPoint presentation last week that showed some 2,400 jobs was coming this way.
Well, and on top of that, whenever there's a little heat, PNJ suddenly comes up with stories about all the wonderful jobs coming our way, and Channel 3 often jumps on board with that one. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, the aviation park, we only need, what, $15-20 million? Right. We're almost there, and all these aviation jobs.
Look, we're almost there, folks. If you'll go back, one of Deborah and I's favorite shows, the Shovel Ready Tour.
Yes. That was a classic.
We made a stop by the aviation park. It's 265 acres, and there's nothing but birds and squirrels living there.
Yeah, trees.
It has been sitting there since 2003. Look, this is not personal. I'm not picking on anybody, but it's been sitting there since 2003. It's 2011, folks. That's 8 years. Now, all of a sudden, there's a bunch of heat on Team Santa Rosa, and lo and behold, a beautiful, multicolored, spiral-bound strategic plan falls out of the sky. Oh, it's beautiful. You know, right here in yellow is going to be aviation interest. Right here in blue is going to be mechanical interest. Right here in red is going to be something else. And all we got to do is put this little road in here. And you know, the presentation was actually going pretty good until somebody finally asked, what will phase 1 cost? Phase 1, folks, $10 to $15 million to recomplete the taxiway, to put in the basic one single road in the aviation park with proper drainage and what's required by state law, and to put a secure fence around it, $50 million.
Don't we have road crews on the county employees?
Well, they could do that, but every time you use the county road crew to do that, you're taking people's tax dollars and they don't get their road paved in front of their house.
Yeah,
you're robbing Peter to pay Paul.
That's true.
But the biggest dollar that we need to talk about while we're right here, and it's something I said, Deborah said, Alan Isaacson said, and a bunch of other people said at the time, is why are you going to spend $3.4 million on the Bill Pullum Commerce Park? Why are you going to take every dime that you have in the county coffers plus $500,000 from the road department, mind you, that was taken away from Mrs. Smith getting her road paved, to buy property and leave us with $0 for infrastructure? Okay? Now, you can't argue with this. Buying land and not having any money to put in infrastructure is stupid. It is ridiculous to continue to operate that way. It is a poor business model. I'll use a few catchword, folks. It's a poor business model. Do you think for 1 minute that a company anywhere in the United States of America is going to come down here and look at a piece of property that we own that's covered with trees and they'll say, oh yeah, well we want to move in there?
Maybe Pullum Realty. And there's still no infrastructure in the Pullum Park.
No.
The part we own, there's still no infrastructure in the park that we bought from Jim Young's auction.
Absolutely.
For
We've not put any money into infrastructure, folks. And let me say it again. We spent $3.4 million of good, hard-earned taxpayer money on a piece of property that we did not need. And at the same time, we have no money left for infrastructure.
And let's remind them that the Jim Young property right next to there was $1.8 million plus the $170,000 realtor fee several years ago. And that has no infrastructure on it.
I mean,
You're using it as a
it's comical to me. Look, I think the aviation park might be a viable thing. It might be. But $15 million is not going to fall out of the sky. And had we not bought the Jim Young property, had we not bought the Bill Pullum property, two pieces of property that we did not need, let me tell you something, folks. Here's how the world works. If land is in the hands of a private owner, should an industrial interest come along and want to put something on it, the private owner can sell them the property. Why did we have to go buy it? Bill Pullum had been trying to sell that property for 25 years and nobody'd buy it. Okay? What I'm saying is, we would have had well over $5 million that we could have put in infrastructure at the aviation park. Okay? But once again, 2003 to 2011, an 8-year period, all of a sudden there's a little bit of heat put on Team Santa Rosa. A beautiful book falls out of the sky with multicolored ink on it, and it's just so impressive. And we should fall over ourselves because, well, we have a master plan now.
Yes. There's always a master
plan.
Well,
I tell you what.
I think they're in their master planning all day long, and maybe that's why nothing's getting done.
If I'm sitting on the other side of the counter, if I'm sitting in the county commissioner's seat, here's my master plan. Shut up. We're not buying any more property. We're going to put in infrastructure. We're going to put in base infrastructure. On every park that we have, we're going to run a road right down the middle of it with a proper drainage on it, and we're going to thin the trees out so at least on these hot shot location guys and gals, when they come into town scouting locations, where they can at least look and see what we have. All right?
It's too late now.
Well,
don't forget, we estimated Team Santa Rosa themselves have cost about $20 million.
About $20 million
in the last 8 years, and that's including those property buys.
You know, you have to have infrastructure, folks. All right. And I was so impressed with Lane Lynchard, Commissioner Lynchard, at a recent county commission meeting, because Team Santa Rosa went forward and said, well, we want to double the amount of incentives for jobs.
Yeah.
And Lane Lynchard looked at Cindy Anderson and said, well, Cindy, you do understand we have a fixed amount of money that we spend on economic development. And if you spend it all on incentives, we don't have any money for infrastructure.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, Commissioner Lynchard. Thank you for saying that. Maybe coming out of his mouth will make a difference. You know, myself, Deborah, and other folks, we've been howling about this forever. Buying property, we got to buy property, got to buy property, got to buy property. We have no money to put infrastructure in. There's not a company. These folks at Team Santa Rosa actually, folks, I'm sitting in the meeting listening to this. They actually have the nerve to believe, and there is grants out there available for putting in infrastructure. But in order to get the grants, you have to have somebody to sign a contract that they're going to move into your park. Okay? Well, who in their right mind is going to sign a contract to move into a park when they don't know if you're actually going to do what you say you're going to do? I'm kind of reminded of Clearwire, maybe. You promised a parking lot, but you never furnished the parking lot. I mean, I just don't think a reasonable business person is going to sign a contract and say, okay, well, a year from now when you have the infrastructure, we'll go ahead and start making payments on the land now.
Right.
And a year from now when you've got the infrastructure in, we'll be ready to move. Ain't happening. You have to put the initial infrastructure in. You have to have the first road from the front to the back. You have to at least tee off from that main road. You have to have the water, the power, cable, high-speed network put in there first. And if you don't have the money to do that, quit wasting my time.
Let's also not forget they've received millions in defense infrastructure grants, which they've used to buy property around Whiting Field instead of perhaps putting it towards the aviation.
I would think that
from selected landowners.
Right. Yeah. Well, that that.
And let's not forget they bought just the property rights, development rights from a certain well-connected farm.
Yeah. Look, folks. Yeah. If I'm wrong, send an email to Santa Rosa editor and tell SR editor. Tell me I'm wrong. There is no way that anybody is going to walk up to a piece of property that's covered thick that a self-respecting deer wouldn't walk through and say, this is where I want to build my business at. All right, it's ridiculous, and that kind of behavior needs to stop. Speaking of that, we got a visit from the Pensacola Chamber of Commerce this week.
Yeah.
Actually, probably a historical day in Santa Rosa County. To give you a little history, for those of us who have lived here all their lives, 15, 18 years ago, there was an attempted partnership. It was called, let's see, what was it? Escarosa. Escarosa movement.
Right.
And it left a bad taste in a lot of folks' mouths because it was Escambia County treating Santa Rosa County like some red-headed stepchildren. And there's been a lot of resistance to that. And the one thing that I will say over and over, when I trust an entity, when I trust a person who is overseeing an entity, if they are a moral and an ethical person, I'm okay with partnershiping from county to county. But I will say that some of those, in the Escarosa days, we were being abused. We need you to furnish bedrooms and we'll get all the industries what it amounted to.
Yeah.
We wasn't getting a fair share of the pie. But a new age is dawning. The Pensacola Chamber...
allegedly.
To date.
We'll see what happens.
To date, the Pensacola Chamber brought in a fella from Bowling Green, Kentucky. His name is Mr. Heiser. And one of the things that impressed me with Mr. Heiser right out of the gate was he had one of his employees that apparently was attempting a backdoor issue and violating the sunshine over the hotel taxes and how that was going to be spent, and he fired him. And I was kind of impressed with that, and I've had an opportunity to talk with Mr. Heiser a couple times, and I've met with him a couple times. And so he came to Santa Rosa County, and I'm going to tell you, they are actually starting to show some signs of life. Now, he's only been here a little over a year, but they are starting to show some what I would consider to be legitimate. You know, they're a more credible organization. There's some businesses that are coming in. They're starting to see a little bit of movement there. But at any rate, he came to Santa Rosa County, and they wanted us to be included in the Vision 2015, which is a goal of 3,000 jobs between the two county area. And of course, there was a donation required. And that's why I said what I did at the county commission meeting. You know, we're going to spend another $15,000 to hire a consultant. Mr. Heiser in the Pensacola Chamber of Commerce only was asking for 20. And for 20, we're on their webpage. We follow leads together. We have a seat at the table. Everything that's discussed, we're part of it. You know, I felt like I would much rather have spent that money and take a shot. I am so disgusted at what we're doing right now with Team Santa Rosa, and it's time that we make a change on that. But one final note: legislative delegation.
Yes, November 30th.
November the 30th. The House members and the Senate members that represent our area,
Florida House and Senate.
Florida House and Senate, they come to the county commission chambers. That'll be on November 30th. Gets a little bit closer. If you'll watch, you'll see some advertisements for it. It's usually at night, so you, the citizen, can attend. And should you have a wish, if you have a concern, it's an opportunity for you to get up close and personal. I'm sure Senator Evers, probably Senator Gates, Clay, Broxson, the
rest of them.
The rest of them, they'll all be there. So it's an opportunity for you to meet those folks. And also an opportunity for you can certainly ask to be on the agenda if you individually or your organization has something that you would like the legislature to work on. I am certainly going to be speaking because I want them to protect my right of free speech at government meetings. So I will be making a request to speak at the legislative delegation. So once again, folks, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything.